The biggest news these days is how Andrew Tate and his brother have been arrested on human trafficking charges. A lot of people had a lot of things to say about this, some in support of the influencer and some against him. So in today's video, we'll be talking about what KSI said about the arrest and how his next opponent is super scared to be in the ring with him. Let's get into it. To start with, KSI has given his opinions on the arrest. Coming from similar beginnings, it was obvious that this influencer turned boxer would have something to say about the whole thing. After winning the fight with Luis Alcaraz Pineda, KSI challenged the former kickboxer Andrew Tate but didn't get much of a response, which was surprising because he doesn't seem to stop talking. But as fate would have it, the former athlete was arrested in Romania, so his opponent could only use one word to describe the situation: LMAO. Isn't that fitting? KSI is probably the most well-known name in this sport, and he's well on his way to fighting with Dylan Denise as CEO of Misfits Boxing. Plus, he's been working on himself. Of course, the kickboxer shared his views on Twitter. He sent several tweets and responses after the disgraced influencer was caught arguing with Greta Thunberg. Surprisingly, he seemed to have said everything about the problem in just one word. That's about all that Tate deserves, though. Now for his excitement about the situation. A few days before the arrest, Tate had talked about the emissions of his cars on Twitter and tagged Thunberg in the post. He also needed her email address so he could send her more information. She gave the most hilarious NSFW response ever, and the internet went wild. In retaliation, the influencer posted a video that ultimately led to his arrest in Romania. While all of this was happening, fans caught some of KSI's excited little tweets about the entire thing. He kept resharing Greta's tweets and peppering her comments with laughing emojis and LOLs. He said that Andrew Tate turned himself in. His antics got the best of him in the end. When the entire world found out about the arrest and how it was carried out, the activist put out yet another super iconic tweet stating that this is what happens when people don't recycle pizza boxes. The super cool kickboxer retweeted this and typed in LMAO in the comments. The athlete got the upper hand in the situation by bringing Tate's past tweets from the past and ending his career with one word: karma. So it's probably safe to say that he's on fire, and he's not afraid to share his thoughts with his followers. Coming up, Andrew Tate is back on Twitter. We all know how this goes down. Two people with different opinions hash their differences out on a social platform, and fans side with whom they think is right. With the world divided, most people don't have a satisfying end. But in this situation, it doesn't get more satisfying than this. The former kickboxer got arrested during his Twitter feud, and now the entire world knows that Thunberg means business. Even though he was just arrested, the kickboxer seems to be back on Twitter. This guy can't stop himself. He told his fans that he has been arrested because agents from the Matrix had been sent to his house. He tagged the Swedish activist in his tweets. Why would he do that? Well, for attention, but also because she has connections to many well-known politicians. Fans were quick to pick up on Tate's tone, and it seemed like it was pretty obvious that he was blaming her for his arrest without giving any proof. Fans were also surprised to see the top G back on the platform just a few hours after he got out of jail. Up next, fans had some wild reactions. If you've ever watched anything that features this former fighter speaking, you'd wonder why people would listen to what he has to say. Surprisingly, he has a huge fan base. His fans were quick to flood Twitter with their takes on the entire thing, and some of them were funny. Well, you can imagine most of them were super sarcastic and mean. They are Tate's fans after all. Most of his fans were just super happy to see him back on social media and congratulated him on breaking the internet for more than 24 hours. One of his fans posted a tweet mocking people on how they thought a pizza box could defeat the champion. They're very concerned about him too, because these paranoid fans think that the Matrix might be pretending to be him on Twitter. Elon Musk should have just kept him off Twitter and saved us all this grief. Now, let's look at how KSI's opponent was super anxious to fight with him. Before Luis Pineda walked out to face KSI in the second fight of the night, it was pretty obvious that he was nervous about round 2. In August, he got back into the ring for the first time in almost 3 years. On the same night, he beat rappers Swarms and Pineda, so we know he means business. Even though Pineda has had 2 wins and 5 losses in his amateur career and no professional experience, he was expected to do well. Alex Wasabi, who was supposed to fight against KSI, had to back out. so this guy was his replacement. FaZe Sensei, another YouTube fighter who lost a controversial decision to King Kenny at the event, said that Pineda was surprised by how big the event was before getting in the ring. He was caught completely off guard by how much attention they got, and it showed. The Mexican boxer was so scared of the 18,000 people at the O2 that his manager had to go look for him to make sure he was still walking. KSI handled the pressure so much better than his opponent. He was backstage when Pineda was supposed to come out, but he wouldn't. He was that nervous. Then he walked out of the building wearing the mask and looking like he didn't want to be there. It made it look like someone was taking a small child trick-or-treating, and he would freak out while coming close to a super scary looking house. What's more, he's a great boxer. In the past few years, the idea of YouTube boxing has exploded in popularity as more and more people want to see their favorite celebrities fight in a boxing match. Like all the other fads and trends going on around us, this one isn't going anywhere anytime soon. Also, KSI has become the most famous boxer on YouTube, making him one of the most well-known names in the business. A lot of people weren't very sure whether Tate is a good boxer or not. Even though he has never lost a match, that doesn't say much about how professional he is, right? Well, he's a lean, mean fighting machine though. That has to stand for something. It's safe to say that he can easily beat an opponent who isn't very good and hasn't trained. He has already shown that he can win fights with his fierce fists. Not only that, but he has also grown a lot in the past few years. To be the best, he must keep getting better at what he does and learn more about the sport. Overall, he has a bright future as a boxer. After all, it's very hard to keep a perfect record. We're all rooting for him. It isn't easy to get such a huge fan base in such a short amount of time in such a popular sport for nothing. Following up, he has had an awesome career. After finding fame on YouTube, he started boxing in 2018. Since then, he has had 5 fights. In his first 2 fights, he didn't even get paid. He called out Joe Weller and Logan Paul, 2 well-known people who make videos for the internet. Weller was knocked out in the 3rd round in his fight with the YouTuber. The boxer's second professional fight was against Paul, and he was a fierce opponent. On November 9, 2019, he made sure that everyone who came to see his match would know what an amazing athlete he was. He had one hell of a fight, and it looked like it had ended in a tie, but he won that match too. His most epic match was in August at London's O2 Arena, where he did something that had never been done before. He fought 2 boxers on the same day. The first person he fought was Swarms, whom he beat with 2 knockouts in the first round. Then he fought Luis Alcaraz Pineda and knocked him out by a TKO in the 3rd round too. Finally, he's a force to be reckoned with. When you add up all of his fights, he has never lost a single one. Also, this level of efficiency has some good reasons for being this way. First of all, he's in amazing shape, and his heart health is great, which is a must-have for any combat sport. He can keep going for a long time and knows how to knock people out. This is because he is very strong physically, which gives him a huge advantage over his opponents in the ring. He has been training professionally for a long time and has worked with many great trainers. On the other hand, while he has never lost a fight, his style of boxing is very bad. His low ring IQ is a big problem that keeps him from being as good as he could be. Boxing is all about using technique and strategy to knock out your opponent and win the fight. Tate has tried this many times and failed each time. If he wants to be as good as other boxing legends, he'll have to work hard and put in a lot of time. One of the biggest drawbacks is that his defense isn't very good, and it cost him in the ring. He has also been mostly average on his feet. In the ring, you've got to move quickly and be agile. The YouTuber turned boxer doesn't have these 2 things, which is a shame. He's taken a lot of hits, but he's always come out on top. We're super excited for his future though. He has a lot of potential. That's a wrap for this video. Do you think KSI can keep up his record? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.